Welcome to Football Miami TV. This is Uncle Ed, and we are here with a special midnight show after some World Cup games. I wanted to come on a little bit earlier, but didn't have the chance. But here we are. We're going to go over a couple of World Cup games, and but before we do that, let's talk about our sponsor, Caneswear. Caneswear is located at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, Florida. If you guys can't go to the store, go to kingswear.com and get all your latest Messi gear. Look at that. They've got the best Messi, variety. If you guys want Inter Miami gear, that's the place to go. I know they've got a special going on right now, so go to kingswear.com or go to the store, which is, probably the best thing you could probably do. Go up there and get all your Inter Miami needs. So don't forget to do that, folks. So once again, guys, thanks for participating and being part of this show. Lately, it's been a little slow, not that much content because we've been going through this whole World Cup thing, but we're enjoying all the soccer that we're watching. I think I'm gonna miss it after a while, but I do miss going to the actual Inter Miami games in person, and looking forward to doing that again. But till then, we do have rumors, certain players that are possibly coming to Inter Miami. There's goalkeepers. There's a defensive midfielder that might be showing up. I mean, and even sooner than you think, because we're going to actually start talking about the World Cup. I don't know if you guys saw the games yesterday and today. They're already going into the final 16 games. If you guys saw the Argentina versus Cape Verde game, that was incredible. I was going nuts watching that. I think everybody was surprised. It was kind of unexpected. I thought I'm sorry, Argentina was going to be able to run away with it, but they didn't. So that's something I think is really interesting. Of course, Messi scored. Lautaro Martinez also scored, and then Borges had an own goal for Cape Verde. They actually had a couple of goals through Cabral and Duarte. But the person we're going to talk about is the goalkeeper who had an incredible day. He shot down Messi. He had a whole bunch of shots going towards goal, and Messi wasn't able to score thanks to Bozinha. The guy he's incredible. He's 40 years old, towards the end of his career, but he was able to do incredible stuff. And there are certain rumors going out there that we're going to cover eventually. So stay tuned for that. But there were also Australia and Egypt played earlier that day. I thought that Australia was going to be able to pull it off, but no, Egypt is still in there. They're battling to try to keep advancing, and I'm happy for Mo Salah, who's been rumored to come to MLS. I'm hoping that will materialize. Not of course, I'd love for him to be at Inter Miami. We need another goal scorer, but we'll take what we can. But I don't think we've got enough cap space to get him unless the rules change from here till next year, or they maybe there's another DP coming. I'm not sure exactly how Inter Miami plans on getting all these new players, and I don't know if you guys want. Let's talk about that first. I like talking about possible Inter Miami players, and now that Brazil has been eliminated, and that's tough to, as a South American myself, of South American origins of Ecuador. Ecuador was eliminated. That hurt a lot, but Brazil was just eliminated. So there's been that rumor about Casemiro. They asked Jorge Mas in person. He kind of like deviated. He said they're looking for players, but there's been a lot of reports from reputable people who are saying that Inter Miami is after Casemiro, who would basically be the guy replacing Busquets. We haven't had anybody that really replaces Busquets. We got Bright, who could play that position, but of course you could still see that he doesn't exactly fill that role. But I think Casemiro would probably be the guy to do that. I think we also have DePaul, who's kind of playing that, and DePaul's a more offensive player. We've seen him be so-so in the lineup with Inter Miami. I see him a lot better with the Argentinian national team. He seems to be he's more concentrated on attack than with Inter Miami, where he's trying to occupy Busquets' place. But he's a more offensive player, so he was losing the ball a lot for Inter Miami, and I think Casemiro will fit in really well with Inter Miami. Don't know exactly how that's going to happen. If Inter Miami even has the money to do that, he's probably going to go under, something similar that happened with Rodrigo de Paul, where he came in the first 6 months on a special, contract or something, and then the following year we're going to probably offload somebody, or maybe Major League Soccer is going to come up with some new DP plan, or something's going to happen because Jorge Mas and David Beckham and Jose Mas, they're always trying to make this team better. They want championships, and I'm very happy because we've probably got the best ownership in Major League Soccer because they want to win. There's owners out there that are in other teams that they are doing the bare minimum. They're just they're happy with what they got, I guess. I know that supporters, as a supporter myself, I want my team to win all the time. So I'm happy that our owners are going after top players. They're not afraid of spending the money. As you could tell, last year it worked out because Inter Miami was able to be the champion. So for me, that's it's exciting to see that our ownership is very forward. So Casemiro coming in, they could actually announce at any time now. Casemiro's Brazilian team got eliminated today. I don't know if you guys saw that. It was a great game with Norway. It ended up with Brazil losing 1-2 against Norway, who again. They have that Norwegian team is incredible. Holland is just one of the top goal scorers in the world at this point. I think I've got some numbers of who are the top scorers of the World Cup right now. So, well, I'll cover that in a little bit. But it's incredible to see that there's all these new players that could become the future stars, the future goats of for world soccer, and we're crossing our fingers that these players will come to Inter Miami. At least I want them to come to Inter Miami, or at least Major League Soccer. We've heard about our Robert Lewandowski that's coming to Chicago. Mo Salah, who I just mentioned with Egypt, who's another possibility, maybe coming to Major League Soccer. Would have loved him to come to Inter Miami, but that's not going to happen. With the current situation in Major League Soccer, we're not going to get the opportunity to get those players. So I'm you know, uh, they're holding us back, man. That's what's happening, and the league is holding Inter Miami back, and we could become a powerhouse in North America, but they're not letting us, man. What's up with that? But still, I think Casemiro will fill in a role that's going to help us out. He scored a couple of goals in the World Cup. The Brazil that we saw this in this World Cup wasn't a strong Brazil like we've seen in past World Cups. They're rebuilding. Neymar wasn't 100%. He didn't play all the goals. So basically, they didn't have the star power that they've had in past World Cups. So yeah, like I said, any moment now, Jorge Mas could, say, hey, this is our new player, or maybe he's going to hold off until the end of the World Cup so they don't steal our thunder. And with all the World Cup games that are still happening, so but depends on whatever they want to do. So I'm kind of happy. He's a little bit up there in age, but he's still a player that I think is going to help our team be better, and hopefully we will lose less balls because now Rodrigo de Paul will not have to be defending as much. And I think that was a problem for him. He couldn't fill that role. I think Yannick Bright was actually the guy that was trying to fill in that role, but there are rumors that Yannick Bright can also move to Italy. I guess we're going to find out if that happens because we need start opening up space for all these other players that Inter Miami supposedly wants to sign. And some of those players, there's a couple of players that are rumored to be coming to Inter Miami, and that's Eloy Room and Bozinha from Cape Verde. So both of these goalkeepers did an incredible job as goalkeepers for their teams. They weren't like the best teams, but they did an incredible job trying to hold these guys back. Allure Room, for example, against who was it? They lost by a lot from with Germany. I think it was it 6 goals or something, 6-1 in their first game. They were totally destroyed, but they played an incredible a game against Ecuador, where Alair Room actually he had the record for saves. I think it was 15 saves in a game, which was the most in the World Cup. I think Bozinho was like one or two behind, and his in one of the games that he was playing, he's also a great player. So we got these two goalkeepers that could be candidates to enter Miami. And why am I saying that? Because Canadian goalkeeper Sinclair, I think he only had a 1 year contract, and I think it had to do with my idea is that he was probably guaranteed to be the starter because for some reason they never stopped he never stopped being the starter, even though I think we probably could have had another goalkeeper because I don't think he was, the best goalkeeper in Major League Soccer like he was the year before. I think he lost a lot of his momentum, and he didn't even start any of the Canadian games, man. So we know that the goalkeeper from Orlando City was the one that actually started. Um, and yeah, Sinclair didn't see a minute in the World Cup, which was probably a huge blow for him. But he wasn't informed. And there's a lot of people, asking for him to be replaced with another goalkeeper. These guys are two of the candidates. Although Room already plays in Miami, he's already living in Miami. He's playing for USL side Miami FC. So he's their starting goalkeeper. Is there a possibility that he can come to Inter Miami? There's been some talk, but not as much as Vozinha. Vozinha's they've been there's a lot of rumors about him coming to Inter Miami, and I think he's more attractive of the two goalkeepers. He's done better. I just noticed that the stats right here are a little off because in goals conceded, Vozinha actually I think he only had 4 goals against, if it or maybe less. Um, and yeah, the 9 goals conceded were actually for Eloy Room, who had 9 goals against. He got six versus was it Germany, and I think he had a few more from the game with Ivory Coast, who beat them 3-0, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, the stats right there are bad. Sorry, guys. I got that mixed up right there, but I'll try to get that fixed, and I'll put it out on social media so you guys can see the actual stats. So those are a little off. But yeah, which guys who do you think is going to be better for Inter Miami, Rosinho or Eloy Room? They're probably affordable players. Rosinho, for example, supposedly he's an electrician. He's 40 years old. But the thing about goalkeepers is they can keep playing. That's one of those positions that you can play well into your 40s. So I'm not sure if he'll stick around for that much, but as a marketing thing to sell jerseys and stuff like that, it could be something feasible for Inter Miami to pull him, as he's coming off of a good World Cup, and it'd be interesting for get him to Inter Miami for a couple 100,000, and we got a good goalkeeper. Would he start? I mean, he would have to compete for that starting position, but I think it'd be he'd sell some jerseys like I said, and he'd be great for marketing Inter Miami. He's not that expensive right now. So, and I don't think, there's that discovery rule or whatever that, there right now is going on because of Casemiro as well. Um, uh, that's why I don't think they've actually locked down the Casemiro deal because of the discovery rules, which is to me is probably the dumbest thing ever created on the face of the earth because discovery, whatever. It just doesn't make sense to me. But So I imagine Galaxy wants some money for that. So Casemiro wants to come to this team. He wants to play with the GOAT, with Lionel Messi. So I think that's going to happen. So um, that'll work out, and hopefully one of these two goalkeepers will be the one that comes to Inter Miami, probably replacing St. Clair, who I think he only has a 1 year contract, and he hasn't been playing that well. And yeah, I think we could see the beginning of the end for him. He could transfer to any other cup club. I just don't think he was that good. He was the year before the top goalkeeper in Major League Soccer, the most valuable goalkeeper. But yeah, I know a lot of people. I know a lot of you guys agree with me on that. He probably isn't that great. So I was going to talk to you guys about the Golden Boot leaders, and yeah, look at that. We've got Mbappe, who's got those 7 goals. Erling Haaland, who we were just talking about. They beat Brazil 2-1. He scored both goals for Norway, so now he's got 7 as well. And Messi has 7 goals. So oddly enough, he doesn't have any assists right now, and Kylian Mbappe actually has. I'm not sure if those stats are correct. Maybe Messi did give some assists. I'm going to check that out in a little bit. And Harry Kane, who I don't know if you guys saw the Mexico game right now. It just ended not too long ago. Harry Kane scored another goal for England, and they're through 3-2 victory over Mexico, and a very deserved. I mean, to see England win that game was impressive because they had everything against them. They did. The Mexicans were at their hotel room making all this noise, not letting them sleep. The insults, you could see them, you could hear them when they were singing their national anthem. They had a red card. They had one of their players, taken out with a red card. I mean, it seemed like they were doing everything possible for Mexico to go into the next round. But thankfully, it worked out for England. I was very happy because Mexico had beaten Ecuador the game to advance to this one, and there were some things that are a little, they did the same hotel thing where the fans were making a lot of noise, not letting them sleep. They're doing fireworks. They were harassing them. I know a lot of Ecuadorian people that went to the game at the Azteca were getting bullied. And yeah, I mean, you could hear it today when the national anthem for England was going on. They were booing, unsportsmanlike behavior, big time. Very disappointing for me to see all that because I've always gotten along with all the Mexican people. But yeah, they have an unfair advantage, and I'm glad that England won because it brought them down to earth. So for some reason, Mexico always thinks they're going to be the World Cup champions, but they never advance very far. I think once again, it proves it. I don't think they had a good team this year. When they were playing at home, so how are they not going to win? They have all that support from people, so they were able to advance as far as they got this time. But it just proves to you how strong England is as a team to win up in the altitude of Mexico City with all the smog, with all those things against them. They were still able to pull off this 3-2 win, and so we're going to see an incredible game that's going to come up, England versus Norway, right here in Miami. I think it's going to be on Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. No, or Wednesday, something like that. I'll update that and I'll check it out in a few, but to see exactly when exactly that game is. But tomorrow we got these incredible games that are coming up, and let me transition to my next pictures right here, the U.S. national men's national team. Um, they're going to play at 8 p.m. tomorrow against Belgium. Tough game for the United States, but Belgium isn't strong, I feel, as the team last year or last World Cup. All their players are a little bit older. They're still pretty good, but I mean, they got Lukaku. They got all these players that are just incredible. I'm gonna talk about them just for just a little bit. Um, um, They got the Bruin, who's still good. He's old. Another guy that was mentioned coming to Major League Soccer. He'd be a great playmaker. He plays as a number 10 for the Belgian national team. So, that they would be an incredible team um, to to advance. But I think the United States has everything that they could do to win this game. They're going to be playing at home. And the last thing I heard was also that the United States Balogun was going to actually play this game. I don't know if you guys saw, but actually Donald Trump even said, thank you to FIFA for taking away his suspension. He wasn't going to play this game, but he's back. And I don't know if you guys saw that play, but I just don't understand. I mean, I could have seen a yellow card, but in that play, and I know there's people out there that are saying, that, this is, it's rigged or whatever, but I don't think it should have been a red card. There was no way that he was able to avoid putting his foot where he put his foot because it was just, he wasn't even looking. There was no intention for him to do that foul. So I just don't think it was a good call, and I'm glad that he's going to be able to play. I don't think it's unfair. I think it's something that needed to happen because I don't think the call was correct. Um, but we can talk, they're probably going to play with the same lineup, which is probably Freeze as in goalkeeper, Freeman. They got Richards, Ream, and Robinson, McKinney, Adams, and Tillman. And we got, Serginho Dest, Balogun, and Pulisic, who will probably play that game. We've got, I mean, our players are young. We've always had the best. Players I think in the world in any sport. We always have players that are in top shape. And I think, and can we win this World Cup? It's going to be very difficult. First, we got to pass Belgium, and that's going to be a tough game to go to get past. But I think it's doable. I think the United States will be able to beat Belgium because we're in this is we're in the United States right now. I think it's possible, but the next game is going to be very difficult if we do pass because Portugal and Spain. It's going to be one of those two, and that is a hard game, and that's going to be a game that's going to be on a little bit earlier in Los Angeles. That's going to be very tough for us to pass. A lot of people are saying Spain is the favorite. They've done good in the group stage and they've advanced this far. And to play against Portugal, I mean that's like a almost like a final because Ronaldo's going to be playing and he's going to be all the hype about him. This is his last World Cup. Um, you know they're going to do everything possible to try to for them to win. I'm not saying that everything's what's it called that everything's fixed, but there's some things in this World Cup that have just been kind of concerning. Um, I don't know if the VAR has totally worked. I mean, today in the Mexico game, the red card on the English player, I think was BS. I think there was no way for him to avoid that because his leg was on the soccer ball, and so he there was no way for him to avoid touching the Mexican player. So was it intentional? No, I don't think it was intentional. Could he have avoided it? Yeah, if he didn't slide, but I don't think he had the intention, it's like impossible for him to avoid putting his leg over the ball and getting and touching the Mexican player. So there are things that I think there's big pressure on all the refs to make the right decision as quickly as possible and I'm sure they discussed it among themselves, but there were just things that, in this Mexico game that I thought were just, they were trying to do everything possible to give them the game. And fortunately, it worked out uh, for uh, um, for soccer in general because I would have been very angry if England wouldn't have won that game after all the effort that they did. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the United States passing. Hopefully, tomorrow's game. That's going to be the second game, and the first one's going to be Portugal versus Spain at 3 p.m. That's going to be incredible. Tomorrow's just incredible games. I can't wait to see what happens with that. And then the following day, on Tuesday, we're going to have Argentina versus Egypt. I think everybody thinks that Argentina is going to be able to do it, but I mean, you saw that game against Cape Verde. If you guys saw that game, it's going to be very difficult for Argentina against Egypt. I think Egypt is a better team, and they want it. They're hungry. They're one of the last African teams that are in this, next to Morocco, who I think Morocco, they're going to have, yeah, their game is coming up after that. Yeah, they're gonna. So yeah, they already advanced, and they're gonna go against France, and that's basically two French teams because a lot of those Morocco players are actually French-born players. So that's gonna be interesting, and I think Morocco's probably of between the last two teams that are left for Africa, Morocco and Egypt. I think Morocco's the best. So I think that game against France is gonna be incredible. I still think France is still more powerful, but if Morocco this is soccer. It's 11 against 11, so there's that always that possibility where there could be a surprise. So that game's going to be on Thursday. That's going to be a great game. And going back to Argentina versus Egypt, I do think Argentina is going to be able to to get the result, but it's going to be tough because Egypt's it's like I said, it's 11 against 11, and there's a possibility that Egypt might be able to surprise. As you guys saw with Cape Verde, they were so close to upsetting Argentina that anything is possible. And the other game tomorrow, um, because we're already past midnight, that's why I'm saying tomorrow's actually for Tuesday. Switzerland versus Colombia. That's another great game. That one's very hard to predict for me. Of course, I'll probably want Colombia to win just because to support the South American teams. I got some cousins who are Swiss, so for me, that's they're gonna probably gonna be mad at me. They're gonna see this and they're gonna be like, "Why are you going with Colombia instead of Switzerland?" Well, just because Colombia is South American, and you know, I just want the South American teams to advance. There aren't many South American teams that can advance. But there's always a possibility Switzerland could pass Colombia. I don't think Colombia has the strongest team that they've had in their history, but they're an exciting team, and maybe they'll be able to pull off a surprise. What's really sad for me is if Argentina and Colombia meet, that would be the next game that they would play, and one less South American team. I think Argentina could probably be able to beat out Colombia. So yeah, looking forward to these last few games. I'm hoping Peter will be able to participate in the next video with me. He had family stuff to do. I'm sure they're very sad because Brazil lost. They got eliminated today with Norway, and that's the reason why Peter, was hosting people over so he can do the show today with me. But I'm hoping he will be back next week so we can review what's left of the World Cup. We're going to keep covering and doing podcasts for the World Cup, and then, once the Major League Soccer season happens, we're going to start doing our vlogs and all that good stuff. I do have a video of the aerial view of the stadium. There's still construction going on, so I think we're still going to be doing some construction videos coming up, guys. So stay tuned for that. There's a lot of projects still going on. There's still a couple of years more where they're going to start doing the actual mall space that they said they were going to start doing at where the stadium is at. So we're looking forward to doing those videos. And yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And what do you guys think? Are we going to get those goalkeepers? Will the United States advance? Leave us some comments down there. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, like I said, and share this with everybody. And we will be back next week, guys. So we hope to see you guys soon. And I'll see ya. See ya. See ya.